Hello, Dandy's World fans. It's Trinity here. A big thank you to Furia Velha for this incredible iceberg. Today, we're taking on the entire thing, going from the very top to the absolute bottom in one complete video. Let's dive into all of the hidden lore and shocking secrets. Blunch Crunch Studios. Alright, so you made it past my yapping. Blush Crunch Studios are the awesome group of developers behind Dandy's World and the less-known game, Flavor Frenzy. It's actually a whole team of talented folks, led by the main visionary, qwel, who designs a lot of the iconic tunes and helps bring the whole world to life. Ships. So, what even are ships? Basically, they're just when us fans decide to put two characters together. We imagine them as a couple. And trust me, there are like millions of these ships. Fans get super creative, and you can find so many different pairings out there in fan art, stories, and discussions. A lot of these ships even get their own unique, super creative names, usually by mashing up the Toons names or some of their traits. Some populars are Fruitcake, Shellvision, Moonflower, etc. But, super important, while it's all for fun, there are some unwritten community rules about what we don't really ship, just to keep things positive and not weird. For example, we generally don't ship the Craft siblings, Goob and Scraps, or cousins, like Ginger and Cosmo, because, well, they're family. And it's also a no-go for anything with Toodles since she's a kid. Oh, and you also won't see characters shipped with one of their skins, like Goob x Fun Party Go or Goob. It's just about keeping things friendly and respectful in the fandom. Codes. So, codes are secret words or passwords like that the devs sometimes drop that give you free stuff. Hit that Enter Code button. Put the code in and you get some goodies like Ichor, ornaments, baskets, or even awesome toon skins. Main Toons. So, main characters are a special type of toons in Dandy's World. Currently, there are 7 playable main characters in the game. You've got Astro, Bassie, Babette, Pebble, Shelly, Sprout, and V. These toons are super popular for a reason. They're usually the most viewed and played by a ton of people, and they have special abilities or playstyle changes that really make them stand out. In the lore, these main characters were the ones most featured in the Dandy's World show or brand's merchandise and episodes, which is exactly why they got their name. They're basically the faces of the Dandy's World crew. Event Toons. So, event toons or holiday toons are super cool because they're exclusively available only during an active in-game event, like Christmas or Easter. Right now, there are 8 of these special toons, 4 from the Christmas event and 4 from the Easter event. Once you buy a holiday toon during its event, you can totally use them outside of it whenever you want. But if you missed out, you won't be able to purchase them again until that specific event rolls around next time. Each of these holiday toons also comes with its own special holiday twisted version, and to unlock them, you usually need to collect a specific holiday currency from that event, along with any other requirements. Merch. So, merch is basically all the cool real-world stuff you can buy to show your support for Dandy's World. The official merch store opened recently, and their first big hit was the Gardenview Cruise Series 1 Clip plushies. These were super popular, limited-time collectibles that quickly sold out. There's even a cool little secret on the merch store page, a hidden Ichor drop you can click that leads to a mysterious website, imsohappytherefriends.com, which we'll dive into in deeper layers. Speaking of plushies, there's also the story of the Dandy Makeship plush. It was planned for release, but unfortunately, it got cancelled just before launch due to some problematic actions by a former developer. It was a bit of a bummer for fans, and its future release is still uncertain. Ichor. Ichor is the main in-game currency you use to snag new toons, cool trinkets, and awesome toon skins. It's what keeps you progressing. You earn it constantly by completing floors, filling machines, grabbing research capsules, using your toon's active ability, and redeeming codes. Now, diving a little into the lore surrounding this currency, there's actually an Ichor operation in the game's backstory. Dandy himself is supposedly the one running it, but why he's doing it remains a bit of a mystery. The word Ichor actually comes from ancient Greek mythology, where it means an ethereal fluid taking the place of blood in the veins of their gods. Pretty fitting, huh? Tapes. So, tapes are your in-round currency. You earn them and can only use them during that specific round you're playing. You collect tapes by finding them scattered around the floor, or by doing tasks like completing machines, surviving floors, using your toon abilities, even getting seen by Twisteds, using items, and equipping certain trinkets. You use these tapes to purchase stuff from dDandy's shop, which pops up in the elevator after you complete a floor, but only if the next floor number is even. It's possible that these tapes actually contain recordings of the old dDandy's World show. It seems like they're what helps calm dDandy down and prevents him from becoming Twisted dDandy. Gardenview. So, Gardenview was originally an educational center and museum within the dDandy's World universe. It was created by Arthur Walton and Delila Keane. From what we can piece together from in-game clues like a loan application and old photos, it seems like Gardenview might have opened in the late 80s. Unfortunately, it eventually closed its doors on June 29, 2002. A newspaper found on one of the game's floors reveals it shut down due to a lack of safety regulations. That same newspaper also tells us that Gardenview was located inside something called Gardenview Park and hints that the train you see in the lobby probably came from somewhere else entirely. Lore. So, the lore refers to all the hidden backstory, mysteries, and important details that piece together the overarching story. Some of it you can find just by exploring in-game, while other bits are uncovered by the community through deeper digging. A lot of the lore is still unrevealed or unknown, which is part of what makes it so exciting. For example, we've mentioned dDandy's involvement in the Ichor operation, but the full reasons behind it are still a big mystery. I actually have a whole separate video dedicated just to dDandy's world lore, so if you're ready to dive even deeper, go check that out for a full breakdown. Trinkets. Trinkets are keepable in-game modifiers that give unique effects to your toons or change overall gameplay. You can equip up to 2 per round, but once you start, you can't swap them. You mainly get them from dDandy's store in the lobby or by completing Twisted research. A cool exception is the Blushy Bat trinket, which you get just by joining the official Roblox group. There are also loadouts to save your favorite trinket combos for quick swapping. Shrimpo stats. Shrimpo, available in dDandy's store, is widely known for having the absolute worst stats in the entire game. He's the only playable toon to have just 1 star in every single stat, giving him a total stat pool of only 5 stars. This is why he's considered the hardest toon to use effectively, as he's explicitly designed to be a challenge. His most notorious stat is his stealth, which hits an abysmal -99. This is the lowest stealth of any playable toon by far, significantly lower than even other negative stealth effects. This comes directly from his passive ability, Bully, which drastically decreases his stealth, making him incredibly easy for Twisteds to spot. Interestingly, because his stealth is so negative, using certain trinkets like coal or scrapbook will actually increase his stealth stat, due to how the math works with negative numbers. Meanwhile, the diary trinket would decrease it further. He's also the cheapest toon in the store, likely reflecting his extreme difficulty. Skins. Toon skins are basically different design modifiers for your characters, making them look unique from their initial appearance. You can get them in a few ways. Most commonly, you'll purchase them from dDandy's store using Ichor. But special skins also pop up in holiday event shops like Babette's and Bassie's, where you'll use specific event currencies. You can also get some exclusive Game Pass skins by buying them with Robux. And finally, if you really dedicate yourself to a toon, you can earn vintage skins by completing all of that toon's mastery quests. It's actually pretty interesting history too. Skins used to be obtained through a gacha system, where you'd buy tickets and get a random skin. But that was changed pretty quickly to direct purchases, making it much fairer and more accessible for everyone. Related characters. So, in dDandy's world, not all toons are just random individuals. There's actually a category of toons with relatives, meaning some characters have established bonds, whether they're biologically related or share a guardian relationship. For instance, we have Babette and Cole who are guardians, much like Blot and Blot Jr., and also Dandy and Pebble. Then, on the biological side, Cosmo and Ginger are cousins, Scraps and Goob are siblings, and so are Flyte and Flutter. And of course, Razzle and Dazzle are famously known as conjoined twins, making their connection incredibly unique. It's these kinds of relationships that add more story and depth to the Dandy's World cast. qwel. qwel, often shortened to just qwel, is the talented developer and owner of Dandy's World. She's also the owner of the main group, Blush Crunch Studios. Beyond Dandy's World, she's also involved with another game called Flavor Frenzy. Her main role involves designing many of the fantastic characters you see in Dandy's World. And just as a fun fact, her favorite toon is actually Dandy himself, and her favorite Twisted is Twisted Dandy. Co-owner controversy. There has been significant discomfort and strong negative sentiment within the Dandy's World community regarding Rox, a former co-owner. This individual was removed from the development team due to severe problematic actions, and as a result, any content or contributions they made were subsequently disassociated or declined by the team. The community, many of whom are minors, has made it very clear they do not support Rox's past actions. This situation has led to a distinction within the fandom. Players often express support for the game and its content, but not necessarily for all of its creators or their individual actions. There's a shared desire to simply enjoy the game without engaging with the controversy. The community strongly discourages harassment, especially concerning fan art or ships, emphasizing that disliking something doesn't justify causing unnecessary drama or targeting others. Twisteds. Twisteds are the main enemies in Dandy's World, essentially corrupted and disfigured versions of the friendly Toons, often infused with Ichor. In terms of lore, it's heavily implied that Dandy himself is responsible for their corruption, with his own in-game description even stating, "It's all his fault." This raises questions about who the very first Twisted was, and a popular theory points to Pebble, given his close bond with Dandy as his pet. GTE, EAE, and other acronyms. Let's talk about acronyms. These are words formed from the first letters of other words, used as quick shorthand in games. GTE or G2E stands for, Get to Elevator. You'll hear this when the last machine is almost finished, signaling everyone to head for the exit. EAE means, Everyone at Elevator, confirming that everyone's in elevator and distractors know that they can go to elevator too. Med or band are just short for medkit and bandage. Prime means leaving a machine almost finished, usually one close to the elevator. This helps the team get to the exit quickly without needing to use panic mode. Pop is connected to Prime, it's telling the player near that primed machine to finish it. A normal run is your regular game session. A main run is a type of normal run, but specifically intended to search for the main character Twisteds for research. A Dandy run is a dedicated attempt to not buy anything from Dandy 3 times in a row, with the goal of spawning Twisted Dandy for research. Toodles sees Roger as a father figure. So, for a lot of players, there's been some confusion around Toodles' relationship with Roger. Many people misread initial information, thinking Roger was actually Toodles' biological father. However, it's been officially confirmed by qwel herself in a Q&A art stream. While Roger is not Toodles' father biologically, Toodles absolutely sees him as a strong father figure. This is the only confirmed family-related detail for Toodles. Extracting distractors. Alright, let's dive into a common point of contention and a bit of a hot topic within the Dandy's World community, especially concerning team roles. Extracting distractors. This debate revolves around whether toons typically designed for distraction should be played in an extraction role. On one side, you have players who expect efficiency. They'll argue that a distractor toon, like Pebble, has low extraction stats and isn't built for quickly completing machines. In their view, playing such a toon for extraction means you're not only performing poorly at that specific task, but you're also taking a spot that could be filled by a toon genuinely designed for high extraction speed, like Shelly, making the run less efficient for everyone. They might push for players to stick to their toon's intended role. Full names. Did you know that every toon in Dandy's World actually has a full name? And usually, these full names cleverly represent the item or object they are. It's a neat detail that applies across the board. For example, Shelly's full name is Shelly Fossilian, directly pointing to her being a fossil. And then there's Box 10, whose full name is Box 10 the Music Box, because he's, well, a music box. UGC items. UGC, or user-generated content, items for dDandy's world are cosmetic accessories you can buy and wear on your Roblox avatar. You can find these items in the Blush Crunch Studio store or the Roblox catalog. There's a pretty large collection, with some currently off sale. These are created by Spyraxy, the dedicated UGC artist for Blush Crunch Studios. Now, for some more niche facts. Due to Roblox's price floor updates, the prices of these UGCs are constantly changing. There have been some interesting quirks too. Astro's Nightcap had a version not meant for sale due to broken visuals, and Babette's Head UGC initially had a description error. Looking at some firsts among the UGCs, Babette, Cole, Ginger, and Rudy were the first Toons to get UGCs based on their specific skins, and Twisted Yatta was the very first Twisted character to get a UGC item. Also, Astro's Head was the first UGC to ever get a new, updated version made of itself. On the flip side, Shelly's Head holds the distinction of being the first dDandy's World UGC item to be deleted by Roblox, though a new version was uploaded shortly after. And if you're wondering about Patience, Flutter's Wings UGC took the longest time to be released from its initial appearance. Shelly is ignored. Shelly the Fossil seems to be the most ignored or forgotten among the main Toons. This isn't just fan speculation, it's implied multiple times directly in the game, in some of qwel's doodles, and even Shelly herself seems to acknowledge it. There's a strong community theory as to why this might be lore-wise. The idea is that her dinosaur or Jurassic theme might just be less captivating to the in-universe audiences compared to the more fantastical or active themes of other Toons, like Astro's Mysteries, V's Game Show, or dDandy's Silly Antics. This is hinted at by upcoming children's drawings where kids are curious about other Toons but don't even remember Shelly's name. Shelly apparently hides her sadness about this, which is why she seems surprised when Toons like Astro or V actually talk to her. Even dDandy's line when you buy her in the shop, "Good choice, I guess," subtly reinforces this idea of her being less popular. It's a sad but interesting piece of character lore. Hacking, exploiting, and griefing. In any online game, you'll sometimes encounter players using unfair methods. Hacking involves using third-party software to gain an unauthorized advantage, while exploiting means taking advantage of bugs or glitches in the game's code. It's worth noting, however, that actual hacking and cheating aren't very common in dDandy's world, thanks to the game's anti-cheat system. But a term you hear specifically in dDandy's world a lot is griefing. A griefer is someone who intentionally tries to ruin the game experience for other players, or purposely makes it harder for their own team. This can manifest in several ways. For example, a common act of griefing is purposely leading Twisteds directly to other players, especially if they're on low health. It also includes activating certain powerful Twisteds like Roger or Razzle and Dazzle at inopportune times to cause maximum harm to teammates. Beyond direct attacks, griefing can also involve toxic behaviors like taking all the medkits for yourself, intentionally ruining a dDandy run, or simply refusing to heal teammates if you're playing a healing Toon. Toodles is a kid. Building on the idea of Toodles being a kid, it's a confirmed fact about her age. Toodles is officially the youngest Toon in all of dDandy's world. This is directly supported by in-game dialogue, where Scraps is even seen calling Toodles a kid, and it's further confirmed by information found on Toodles' info card that she is the youngest Toon. Gay Glisten. Next up, let's explore a topic of discussion within the community regarding the character Glisten. There's been some fan speculation and discussion about Glisten's sexual orientation, specifically whether he might be gay. This conversation has brought up differing viewpoints within the player base. Some players express discomfort with discussions of sexual orientation in content featuring childlike characters, believing it might be inappropriate for younger audiences. However, a strong counter-argument exists, pointing out that sexual orientation is simply a preference and a natural part of identity for people of all ages, including children. They emphasize that being gay doesn't imply anything inappropriate, and that children can have diverse family structures, including gay parents. It's important to note, however, that despite these discussions and viewpoints, nothing regarding Glissen's sexual orientation has been officially confirmed by the developers. It remains a topic of fan speculation. Leaks. Let's dive into something that keeps the community buzzing with anticipation: behind-the-scenes leaks. This term, in the dDandy's World community, refers to the official sneak peeks and confirmed future content usually posted in the behind-the-scenes channel on the Blushcrunch Studio Discord server, as well as qwel's TikTok and YouTube. It's essentially a look into what the developers are actively working on. There's a massive amount of information shared here, covering almost every aspect of the game's future. This includes hints about upcoming toons, new trinkets, and a wide variety of skins, from general purchasable ones to specific character designs like the blot skin, and even updates on the highly anticipated, but delayed, Halloween skins. Beyond characters and cosmetics, these leaks also detail new floors and maps, like a dedicated sprout map and general new map types. We also get insights into significant game mechanic changes, such as planned model and animation reworks for Toons and Twisteds to improve fluidity, new features like Toons being able to blink, and optimizations for better performance. Inside jokes, for example, Joyride. If you hear someone mention Joyride in the dDandy's World context, they're not talking about the candy brand. It actually refers to a specific animation meme song that has become heavily associated with the character Glissen. Because of the popular edits and animations featuring Glissen set to this track, the term Joyride is now often used by the community to refer to the song itself, its distinct vibe, or even as a direct nickname for Glissen due to their strong connection. And that's just one example. The dDandy's World community is full of these kinds of inside jokes and references. People create them all the time with their friends in their own groups. Events. Let's move on to events, the limited time updates that bring fresh content to dDandy's World, usually tied to specific holidays. These events typically introduce unique elements like holiday toons, holiday twisteds, special trinkets, a decorated lobby, exclusive skins, a dedicated holiday floor, and even a new event currency. They're designed to return annually and usually last about a month. However, the history of dDandy's World events hasn't always been smooth. For instance, the 2024 Halloween event was unfortunately cancelled due to the firing of the former co-owner. This would have been the game's very first event. The 2024 Christmas event also faced delays, starting in January 2025 instead of December 2024, because of the game's monthly update schedule. Later, both the 2025 Valentine's and summer events were cancelled as the development team needed to catch up and focus on optimizing the base game and core features. Interestingly, players have observed some patterns in how event toons are released. They seem to follow certain trends in their categories, like common, uncommon, rare, and a main character toon for the event, and their associated currency costs. For example, the main character event toons often own a shop and are tied to the event's currency object, though the developers have indicated some of these patterns might just be coincidental. Riley drama. This situation arose when a fan named Riley took the initiative to reanimate the character Sprout using dDandy's World models and then shared their work on the official Blushcrunch Discord server. What followed was unexpected for many. Riley received a warning, a 2-hour mute, and was banned from posting any further fan art in the server. The core of the drama was that, from the fans' perspective, they were unaware of any rule prohibiting this kind of animation, as it reportedly wasn't clearly stated in the channel rules. This incident wasn't isolated either, as some players also recall a previous instance where someone was even banned from dDandy's World for creating a fan game, contributing to a perception of inconsistent or harsh treatment towards creative fans. It's a topic that brought up questions within the community about rules for fan-made content and developer communication. Gardenview founders. The Gardenview Educational Center and Museum was founded by two key individuals, Arthur Walton and Delila Keane. Arthur Walton was credited for designing all the current toons, and he also created and showran the in-universe dDandy's World TV show, as shown by notes detailing the show's purpose. His partner, Delila Keane, was most likely the one responsible for creating the physical bodies for these toons through unknown means, using Arthur's designs as her reference. It seemed Delila was incredibly passionate about her work, likely a workaholic given her dependency on coffee, even evidenced by a coffee stain on one of the in-game notes. Arthur doted on her a lot. However, unlike Arthur, Delila appeared to hold fewer ideals, often coming off as tunnel vision and focusing on matters from a more realist lens. This is highlighted by her tendency to brush off Arthur's worries about potential serious accidents, or her belief that the Christmas Toons would be perfectly fine in solitude until the next holidays, just to save on resources, without considering the psychological impact on their mental states. Documents and in-game notes further hint at their deep involvement, including a loan contract they both signed to get Gardenview running. Their collaboration was central to bringing the Toons into existence, but lore also suggests a complex relationship between them, with notes hinting at secrets and disagreements, particularly concerning unforeseen consequences that arose during their work. They are truly the architects of the dDandy's world universe as we know it. Roleplay mode. Roleplay mode, or RP mode, is a dedicated game mode where players can fully immerse themselves in the dDandy's world universe, free from the usual objectives and threats. It was released on August 29, 2024, and is 100% free and accessible to all players through a specific door in the main game's lobby. In this mode, you can morph into any toon in the game, regardless of whether you own them, including dDandy himself. For Twisteds, you need to have encountered them at least once and have some research progress. Importantly, Twisteds like Roger, Razzle and Dazzle, and Blot, who are normally immobile in-game, have custom animations to allow movement in RP mode. Many toon and twisted proportions are also adjusted for this mode. The maps themselves offer unique exploration. Areas normally inaccessible, like certain ladders or shelves, become climbable, and you can find new or altered maps, including an item-devoid dDandy's elevator shop. The Toon Rooms map is entirely exclusive to RP mode. Beyond just morphing, RP mode is a goldmine for lore reveals, with notes scattered around written by the Toons themselves, uncovering details like Razzle's desire to be on V's game's show or Glisten's hidden insecurities. Unique features for RP mode include a distinct gray dialog box above your character when you speak, and the ability to use free cam on PC with Shift+P, allowing for even deeper exploration and creative storytelling. Toon Handlers. Let's explore some of the more mysterious figures in dDandy's world lore, the Toon Handlers. These are a set of 5 human characters whose portraits are prominently displayed in locations like the greenhouse and the roleplay mode's Toon Rooms. Their role and ultimate purpose are currently unknown, but each appears to be assigned to a specific main toon in the cast, effectively acting as their carers. A rules poster in the lobby even explicitly tells visitors to listen to the Toon Handlers. Their faces and portraits are usually obscured by shadows from their hair, adding to their enigmatic appearance. We know their names. Devin Reed is assigned to dDandy and Pebble, Austin Russo to Astro, Sam McLaughlin to Sprout, Veronica Hurley to V, and Shannon Mendez to Shelley. Interestingly, the names of the handlers all start with the same letter as their respective toons. Many of them even mirror or contrast their toons' personalities, such as Devin's friendly demeanor matching dDandy's. Sam McLaughlin is also notable as the first confirmed non-binary character in dDandy's world. Their fate is one of the game's biggest unresolved mysteries. Notes scattered throughout Gardenview, like a radio transcript or Shannon's poignant message to Shelley, reveal that the handlers had to get out of the building just before the incident, implying they didn't lose control of the toons, but were forced to leave. There's even CCTV footage showing Veronica discussing plans for V version 2 with V herself. These clues suggest their deep involvement in the toons' creation and the unfolding lore, and we're told more information about them will be available in future updates. Blushcrunch Discord server. Blushcrunch Studio, the creators of the popular multiplayer survival horror game dDandy's World, launched their official Discord server on January 15, 2022. It has since grown into a massive community hub, boasting over 440,000 members. This server is the primary platform for fans to connect, discuss strategies for evading Twisteds and solving challenges in the enigmatic Gardenview Center, and report any bugs they encounter. Crucially, it's also where players stay updated on all the latest game developments, including new characters, floors, and balance adjustments. The active engagement on the Discord server really highlights Blush Crunch Studios' commitment to evolving dDandy's world based on direct player feedback, making it an immersive and collaborative experience both in and out of the game. Toxic side of fandom. While game communities usually foster shared passion, they can also reveal a toxic side. In online games like dDandy's World, this toxicity often appears as verbal abuse and harassment. Players might be unwelcoming to newbies, or those playing specific toons, sometimes leading to intentional griefing like sacrificing twisteds to them. Even giving helpful advice can be met with swearing and insults. There are also instances where entire groups turn hostile, ganging up on a player for a simple comment, then ironically labeling the targeted person as toxic. This behavior, along with concerns over inconsistent moderation where some griefers seem to go unpunished, can make the game experience frustrating. Some toons were Quelver's OCs. Several beloved toons in dDandy's World actually started out as Quelver's personal original characters, or OCs, long before they were brought into the game. These include dDandy, Glisten, Gub, and Connie. dDandy himself, the titular character of dDandy's World, originated as one of Quelver's OCs way back in 2021. He was later adapted and brought into the game to become the iconic figure we know today. Glisten also has a unique external origin, having been an OC Quelver made that was specifically inspired by the popular web series Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Gub is another character who was one of Quelver's personal OCs before the creation of dDandy's World. Similarly, Connie was originally a personal OC of Quell's, notably based on the game Epic Mickey. She was first publicly seen as an Epic Mickey OC on January 30, 2024. This specific origin is likely why Connie's name doesn't follow the typical pattern of being alliterative or referencing an object, unlike most other toons in the game. Unannounced toons. In dDandy's World, unannounced toons, or surprise toons, refer to characters that were added to the game in an update without any prior leaks or official promotions. Their appearance genuinely took the community by surprise. The first two such surprise additions were Finn and Tegan. They made their debut without any prior hints, even appearing together in a thumbnail alongside Twisted Gub. Then we have Louie, who holds the distinction of being the first toon unofficially leaked. Louie's model was accidentally shown in I_Manimator's inventory, which was quickly made private after the incident. Following this accidental reveal, qwel herself teased Louie's upcoming appearance, giving fans the green light to create fan art of the new toon. Finally, in this sequence, Cole also stands out as the only Christmas toon not teased prior to the Christmas event, making his debut a complete surprise. Astro has 4 arms. The theory of Astro having 4 arms isn't just speculation. It's heavily implied by 2 key pieces of evidence. Firstly, his twisted form clearly depicts him with multiple limbs. Secondly, a telling dialogue with Tisha offers a direct hint. Astro is heard saying, "I've been so busy. I almost need an extra set of arms to help me out." When Tisha questions him, his quick, evasive response of "nothing" only adds to the mystery, suggesting he might have inadvertently revealed a hidden truth about his unique physiology. BNJX Scarlet, Ulpu, and Content Farms. This delves into specific figures like BNJX Scarlet and Ulpu, who are among the most popular creators. They are known for making what is often described as brain-rot content, typically designed to bait kids into watching and generating revenue. While this type of content is highly controversial, it remains popular with its young audience. The mention of content farms highlights a less positive aspect of online communities, where channels or individuals might rapidly produce low-quality or repetitive content, sometimes exploiting popular trends or controversies within games, solely for views and monetization. This can sometimes lead to the spread of misinformation, repetitive discussions, or a dilution of genuine community engagement. It's a reminder that not all attention or content surrounding a game is created equally, and discerning quality and intent becomes important for community members. Bootleg merch. Despite the game's official presence, there's a notable amount of unofficial, or bootleg, merchandise circulating. The most popular items among these are plushies, though they are often characterized by bad proportions and generally poor craftsmanship. While figures and clothes also exist, they are less popular. These bootleg items are typically made very cheaply, often resulting in wrong colors or other inaccuracies compared to official designs. Many content creators have even made videos showcasing these items, unboxing them, and sometimes ranking their quality. However, the existence of bootleg merchandise comes with a significant downside. It's crucial for fans to be aware that purchasing these unofficial items does not support the game's actual developers. In fact, dDandy Worldwide, the official creators, have issued warnings against scam websites that attempt to sell fake merchandise, urging players to be cautious and ensure they're supporting the legitimate creators of the game. dDandy's World Hate Dom. Let's talk about why some people really dislike dDandy's World and its fans. While it's common for popular things to get some hate, the reasons for disliking dDandy's World are pretty clear. A big reason is the game's community itself. Many players say it's quite mean and unfriendly. This includes things like big arguments over character ships, being rude to new players who don't know the game's unwritten rules, and just generally unpleasant behavior. Some even say the community is freaky or worse than other online game groups, especially when it comes to toxic shippers, who get overly intense about their favorite pairings. Another big complaint, especially for content found on places like TikTok, is the amount of grown-up NSFW content. Besides problems with the community, some hate comes from the gameplay itself. Even though it's popular, some players find playing the game feels a bit boring or like too much grinding, doing the same thing over and over, to have real fun. Also, there have been talks about some controversies or accusations involving old co-owners of dDandy's World. So, even though some players enjoy the game and like its characters, the issues with its community and the kind of content that spreads online are big reasons why dDandy's World gets so much hate. Flavor Frenzy. Flavor Frenzy is a tower defense game on Roblox, created by Blush Crunch Studio, the same developers behind dDandy's World. Beyond just sharing a creator, the game is notable for containing various Easter eggs that connect it to dDandy's World. The most significant of these was an arcade cabinet featuring dDandy, which could be found within Flavor Frenzy even before dDandy's World was released. This served as a clever, early teaser for what would become the hugely popular dDandy's World, making it a subtle piece of interconnected lore for fans who followed the developers' work across their different projects. However, despite this initial link and its own success, Flavor Frenzy has faced a significant decline. While it was initially updated alongside dDandy's World, the immense popularity of dDandy's World eventually led to Flavor Frenzy being pushed aside. The main reason for its abandonment stems from a critical incident involving a former developer, referred to as YKW, who was fired by qwel. Upon being fired, YKW unfortunately took all of Flavor Frenzy's models, textures, and other essential assets with them. This left the studio in a major predicament. Compounding the issue, as Blush Crunch Studio's older and first game, Flavor Frenzy's existing code is extremely messy and would require a massive effort to completely rewrite and optimize. Recreating all the stolen assets and redoing the code would simply consume too much time and resources, making it impossible to fix Flavor Frenzy while simultaneously providing frequent updates for dDandy's World. Due to these overwhelming technical challenges and other pressing priorities for the studio, qwel has, for the time being, had to abandon Flavor Frenzy. While qwel has expressed that they still love the game and has even found 3 amazing new developers for the studio, Flavor Frenzy will not be receiving the crucial fixes and updates that dDandy's World is currently getting. There is a slim hope that it might be revisited and fixed sometime in the distant future, but for now, Flavor Frenzy remains largely unmaintained. Misinformation. Misinformation refers to incorrect or false information about game mechanics, strategies, or lore that gets spread among players. This can be particularly confusing and frustrating for new players who are just trying to learn the ropes, as they might be fed completely wrong tips that actually hinder their gameplay. For example, some players initially thought that Razzle and Dazzle would activate just by walking into them. A more problematic instance of misinformation involves players intentionally giving beginners false advice. Stories circulate about experienced players telling newer ones that picking up Gumball somehow makes Twisteds faster, or that you'll get a guaranteed medkit after every GG encounter if you manually give her a band from your inventory. These are not true game mechanics. While sometimes it might be an honest misunderstanding, there's concern that some players spread such false information to mislead or throw off beginners, creating a more challenging and sometimes unfair experience for those genuinely trying to learn. Glissen's insecure side. Through various in-game clues and revelations, Glisten stands out as a toon with significant hints about his inner workings. A major source of this deeper understanding comes from notes scattered throughout Glissen's room. These notes include mentions of other toons like Box 10, Razzle and Dazzle, Shrimpo, Brightnay, and Finn. More notably, one particular note refers to an unknown, someone, who consistently expresses concern about Glisten overworking himself and specifically mentions him getting dizzy from his signature reflection trick. This detail is strongly linked to one of Glissen's key dialogues with Roger, which was present since Glissen's initial release. In this conversation, Roger, known for being incredibly observant, directly confronts Glisten, asking if he's staying safe and even pointing out how he nearly walks into walls after using his ability, a concern Glisten attempts to brush aside. By connecting these pieces, it becomes strongly implied that Roger is the someone from the notes. He is keenly aware of Glissen's struggles with his reflection ability and his tendency to overwork. This reveals a surprisingly empathetic dynamic between Roger and Glisten, showcasing Roger's observant and caring nature despite his usual demeanor, and highlighting Glissen's hidden vulnerabilities beneath his often flamboyant exterior. Old Twisted Dandy design. Twisted Dandy actually had two very different looks before he became what he is today. His first version was quite unique. This early Twisted Dandy was super skinny and much taller, with totally black eyes that seemed to have black mist coming out. What's interesting is that this first design had 4 arms, a feature that later ended up on Twisted Astro's design. This first version also walked on 2 legs, not 4. The second version of Twisted Dandy looked a bit more like his final design, but still had many big differences. Instead of his whole body being made of sticky ichor, his bottom half was still his normal toon body, but its colors were very faded. The skin around this part was ripped, with his top half, made completely of ichor, bursting out. He still had some features and the same creepy face as his current design. But this version didn't have the famous VHS tapes wrapped around him and still walked on 2 legs, unlike the Twisted Dandy we know now who runs on all 4s. These older designs give a cool peek into how the scary character changed over time. Creepypastas. Just like in other online communities, Dandy's world has its own collection of fan-made scary stories, known as creepypastas. These are creative tales designed to be unsettling or spooky, often involving twisted versions of familiar toons or dark interpretations of game events. The community acknowledges these are fictional and made for fun, serving as a way to explore horror themes within the game's universe, and sometimes even made for views. Exclusive roleplay mode features. While we've touched on roleplay mode before, this segment focuses on its exclusive features. This free game mode, accessed from the main lobby, lets players morph into any toon or twisted. A key feature is the custom animations for characters like Twisted Roger, Twisted Razzle and Dazzle, and Twisted Blot, who move uniquely here. The mode also includes areas normally inaccessible and boasts an exclusive Toon Rooms map, rich with lore notes. Furthermore, it offers a distinct gray dialog box for chat and a free camera mode for PC players, truly enhancing the roleplay experience. To use a twisted morph, you need to have encountered them and gained some research, while toons are freely available. Lil Dude. Next up, we have the legendary Lil Dude. Unlike an official character, Lil Dude is known within the community as a small doodle that could be spotted in qwel's stream. There are many Lil Dude drawing, so I don't really know which one is the real one. If you know something more about Lil Dude, share it down in the comments. Connie Delay. Connie holds the unique spot as the first toon openly known to have been delayed in coming to Dandy's world. The main reason for this holdup was a big problem behind the scenes, the firing of a past co-owner of Blush Crunch Studio. This created a large, empty space in the team, causing issues with development. Because of this same situation, Connie also became the first toon to be remodeled. This shows how big changes within the game's development team can directly affect when characters are released and even how they look. It highlights how much goes on behind the scenes that players don't always see. 68,475 Ichor. The number 68,475 Ichor marks a specific point in dDandy's world's history. This was an older data total for the amount of Ichor you needed to buy absolutely everything available in the game that costed Ichor, which included all toons, trinkets, and skins, even those from special events. It's important to know that this total has changed. With new updates and added content, the complete collection now requires a higher sum of 79,825 Ichor. So, while 68,475 was once the goal for players aiming to unlock everything, that number has since been updated. Louie's paranoid side. Louie is a cheerful and fun-looking toon from the circus crew, but deep inside, he hides a paranoid side. He gets nervous when he's alone, especially during extraction tasks, and sometimes his quotes show it. When he finishes a machine, he says things like, "Anyone watching? Huh," or "Huh, nothing went wrong." Huh, which sound like he's trying to convince himself that everything's okay. Even "terrific" might not be as happy as it sounds. Around other toons, he acts more confident, but small moments show he's still overthinking. Like with V, when she says no to his circus acts, Louie laughs nervously and quickly hides his feelings. With Gub, he avoids hugs because they're too tight, maybe out of fear he'll pop. Connie also refuses his circus idea, and he responds with a cartoon, "Womp womp," hiding sadness as a joke. His character card says, "Remember, others aren't laughing at you. They're laughing with you," but what if he doesn't believe that? Louie might think people secretly judge him, and that's why he hides his true self. Wiki vandalism. Vandalism is a big problem on the dDandy's World Wiki. Every day, multiple users get blocked for messing with pages in bad ways. Vandalism means editing the wiki with false, random, or harmful info, and yes, even small jokes or fake lines count. For example, changing character stats to something fake, replacing names with insults, adding weird images or memes, or writing random stuff, that's all vandalism. Some people even tried changing important images or shipping characters, which isn't canon and is not allowed. If you do any of this, even just once, you get permanently banned. No warnings, no second chances. The wiki is strict because people use it to learn about the game. Vandalism causes confusion, spreads lies, and wastes time for the mods who try to keep things clean. If you want to mess around, use Inspect Element on your own browser, not the public wiki. Respect the staff, and don't make their job harder. Just use common sense, and don't vandalize. Twisted Dandy buff. qwel, one of the game's creators, said in a Discord message that she heard people don't find Twisted Dandy very scary. Because of that, she is thinking about making him a little faster when he chases players. This buff is being considered, but it's not confirmed yet. So maybe Twisted Dandy will get stronger soon. Dandy and Astro's relationship. There is a photo from 1988 found in the greenhouse floor that shows Astro and Dandy together. This suggests they might have been childhood friends. Another picture on the official merchandise website shows them looking at stars, maybe in the Gardenview lobby before it was finished. The website's URL even says, "I'm so glad they're friends," which supports that they are close. They still seem to be friends today. They talk to each other during the Ichor operation, shown in their interactions with Pebble, Tegan, V, and Sprout. Some other toons don't like their friendship. This is hinted at in some dialogues, like Astro's talk with Tegan or conversations between V and Sprout. Astro and Dandy often chat about old episodes, but Connie finds their talks boring. Astro also seems nervous during some conversations, which Connie might not notice. The game creator qwel said their relationship is not toxic. So, they really are good friends. Flutter's wings UGC. Flutter's wings are blue butterfly wings from Flutter in dDandy's world. They were never used in the game. The first version appeared in the marketplace on November 2, 2024, but it was marked as off sale, meaning you couldn't buy it. A newer version was added later on January 30, 2025, and it's also off sale. This makes Flutter's wings the longest delayed UGC item to be released in the game. Dandy and V's hurt face. In the game files, Dandy has an unused hurt face. It shows him with an emotionless smirk and angry, sharp red eyes with big pupils. Since roleplay mode came out, Dandy's hurt face is now the same as his third phase face when you don't buy anything from his store. V also had a hurt face, but it changed because she is a TV. Instead of a normal hurt expression, she shows a blue error screen with the words, rebooting. This error screen style is also on her vintage skin, where it shows the text, the end, in black and white. On her cosmic signal skin, it says, signal error, and on her StarTime skin, it shows, please wait. Starters hate. In Dandy's world, everyone starts with a basic starter character. It's important to give new players a chance to learn and play. But many players get annoyed when they see starters in their party because they think starters don't know the game well or slow things down. Some players say people are mean to others just because they use a starter toon. This isn't fair, especially when some of these players are actually very good with their starter and have reached high floors in the game. One problem is that new players don't get a tutorial. They have to figure out the game on their own, which makes it hard at first. Sometimes, experienced players don't want starters in their public runs and say, no, or even insult them. Warehouse Van's license plate. The license plates on the vans in the warehouse show the username of qwel, the game creator, but written in LeetSpeak. They say, qw31v3r. Before that, the plate said, qw3l-####, but the last three characters are blurred in the image qwel shared, so no one knows exactly what they were. Trading cards. In Dandy's world, there are trading cards for many characters like Astro, Brightnay, Dandy, Flutter, Gigi, Pebble, and Razzle and Dazzle. These cards come in booster packs and have special card backs. They aren't real cards but part of the game's lore. You can find them as small, cute details hidden on the maps. Maybe someday they could become real, but for now, they just add to the story and world. T-pose glitch. Sometimes, your game or other players' games don't load properly. When this happens, your toon or others might stand in a T-pose. This is just a loading glitch and usually fixes itself after a moment. Dandy and Babette are chubby. Dandy and Babette have chubbier body types compared to other toons. Dandy's chubbiness is harder to notice because his body is mostly covered by green petals. Babette is canonically chubby, and this is made slightly more noticeable on her Eve sleeper skin. Coco also has a chubbier body compared to most toons, making her the third character who is canonically chubby. However, she's not mentioned much here because this Iceberg is older and hasn't been updated yet. Dandy ignores the other mains. It seems like Dandy tries to ignore most of the other main characters, especially V and Sprout. But he still talks to Astro and Pebble. In one interaction, Tegan asks Astro if he still talks to Dandy, which suggests they do. V and Sprout also say that when they try to argue with Dandy, he just ignores them. V even hints that Dandy will talk to Astro instead. Dandy's sarcastic comments when buying Shelly, Sprout, and V show he's not very friendly with them. In a Christmas teaser, V's plush is knocked over in Dandy's store, showing they don't get along well. Original Dandy design. Dandy's very first concept design was created around December 23, 2022. This early version was quite similar to his final look. The main differences were his more chibi-like body, his petals pointing behind his head, and him wearing mismatched colorful socks with colored ankles, toes, and heels. Also, Dandy's mouth in this original design appeared to be locked in a toothy grin. Save us, and help. If you look closely around Dandy's shop, specifically on his shelf, and even in the Gardenview area, you might spot some building blocks that clearly spell out HELP. It's funny how something so simple can carry such a heavy feeling, hidden in plain sight. But that's not the only hidden message. Take the words, "See a very exciting and unforgettable show." If you grab the first letter of each of those words, they actually spell out something completely different and quite chilling, SAVUS. It's like a secret cry, buried right there in the text that's meant to draw you in. Kinetopet. In one of the warehouse maps in Dandy's world, there was once a chilling Kinetopet Easter egg. This was a direct reference to the horror game, Kinetopet. you could find Kinito seemingly trying to get out of a computer within the game. However, this Easter egg has since been removed because it was modeled and added into the map by a fired developer. qwel has also stated that bringing this Easter egg back is not a priority for them. Flavor Frenzy Bear. This is a pretty strange one, and even Furia, who made the Iceberg, had a big reaction to it. Some people have said that a Flavor Frenzy Bear made a cameo in the background of one of the maps. However, it seems like nobody can find a proof or info about it, making this a truly mysterious and obscure item. If you know anything about this, comment and let us know. Flutter used to look like an actual butterfly. Flutter's early design was actually much more like a real butterfly. Her antennae were curled, and so was her proboscis, which was more accurate for her kind. Her wings had a clover-like pattern, similar to pebbles, instead of the single heart we see now. She was also a bit shorter, her dress had frilly ends, and there was more fluff under her body. Interestingly, she was even planned to be walking instead of flying. Both the clover on her wings and the idea of her walking were later used for her brother, Flyte. Shelly Poster Fix. If you look at the old, staff-only, sign in Dandy's world that features Shelly, you'd notice a small but interesting detail. Shelly's shell was oriented wrongly. However, this sign actually got reworked again just a few weeks ago. In the newer version, you can't even see her spiral from the top anymore. Jake Exposed. A Roblox YouTuber named Jake, 18, has been exposed for disturbing behavior. He admitted to being a self-identified EDP, which stands for Emotionally Disturbed Person, and also showed inappropriate interests toward minors. Despite these serious admissions and actions, Jake continues to gain followers. This is causing concern about his influence on children and the lack of action taken by YouTube regarding his channel. Duplicated Twisteds. Sometimes, you might see two of the same twisted toon on a single floor even though the game tries to avoid this. Since the game is still in alpha, it's possible for this to happen on higher floors. If the game needs to roll 6 main toons and there's no special event going on, one main toon has to be duplicated. Dandy paints his petals. There's a fan theory about Dandy possibly painting his petals to hide something. If you look closely, his body color is light and whitish instead of being green like a flower stem should be, only his arms have color. In fact, only his petals are bright, and nothing else. The theory is that Dandy is actually a dying flower. He doesn't get the nutrients he may need, and without the toon handlers around to keep him in check at the children's Gardenview Center, he paints his flower petals to remain bright. Gardenview shutdown. The city newspaper announced that the Gardenview Educational Center is shutting its doors on June 29. This closure is happening because of recent serious claims and a lack of proper safety rules. Not much has been said about the Malfunction Incident, but one of the creators, Walton, was questioned about it and chose not to speak. There isn't a lot of information about the staff, but we know there were at least 5 toon handlers, and it's thought that Delila Keane also worked there. Secret Sprout Drawing. There's a secret room hidden behind Dandy's store. In this hidden spot, you'll find a drawing of Sprout on the wall and a shiny golden table in the corner. This drawing has even been updated in the game, showing a new version of it in that same secret room. Twisted Glissen's old mechanics. Before Twisted Glisten was released, the plan was for him to be a trickster, luring players in. However, that idea changed. Instead, Twisted Glisten was given a bar that fills up if no one stands near him, and he would get enraged when it became full. We don't know exactly how he would have lured players in with his original trickster design. StarTime Skins Original Designs. Let's look at the early ideas for some of the StarTime skins and how they changed from their original designs to what we see in the game now. Interestingly, some didn't change much at all. StarTime Pebble. In StarTime Pebble's early concept art, not much was different. The only change from the final version is that he had a skyteal plaid blanket with yellow tassels instead of the pillow on his head or back. StarTime Shelly. For StarTime Shelly's early design, her shirt was a light teal with gold dinosaurs printed on it, instead of the black shirt with gold and teal dinosaurs we see now. Her concept art also shows her wearing a star hair clip instead of her final teal and gold twin star headband. Plus, her wristbands were dark gray instead of teal and gold. Startime V. Startime V's early concept for her skin had just one difference from the final version. She had clouds on her antennas. Startime Astro. When it comes to Startime Astro's concept art, his design stayed really similar to how he looks in the game now. Startime Sprout. Startime Sprout's concept art also remained very much the same as his current design in the game. Old Twisted Shelly debuff. Let's dive deeper into the confused debuff that Twisted Shelly uses. In Dandy's world, when a toon gets confused, machines they are interacting with take longer to finish. Prior to the version 0.3.0 update, Twisted Shelly applied Confuse 2. This meant the confusion effect was stronger or made machines take significantly longer to finish. After the update, she was changed to apply Confused 1. This is a weaker version of the debuff, meaning the confusion isn't as intense or doesn't add as much time to a machine's completion. It was a notable nerf that changed how players had to deal with her in the game. What does Shrimpo like? Now for a really puzzling character, Shrimpo. If you've been around Shrimpo, you might have noticed he says he hates everything he sees, hears, or does. He even claims to hate both dogs and cats. But, funny enough, he does admit he likes dogs more than cats, so that's at least something he leans towards. Shrimpo also definitely likes having the last word, though he's not always successful at it. Here's the real mystery: Shrimpo might like one special thing, but qwel hasn't told us what it is yet. In an art stream on August 15, 2024, qwel said that Shrimpo does like one thing, but it's still a secret. And in a Q&A from January, qwel even joked that Shrimpo is the kind of toon who puts milk before cereal, which is probably just a weird personality trait rather than a real like. So, officially, Shrimpo likes one thing, but no one knows what it is yet. Everything else seems to be something he hates, just puts up with, or uses to annoy others. Twisted Pebble's mouth laser. Alright, next up we've got a super weird one about Twisted Pebble. This is all based on a picture that was probably made by qwel herself. In the picture, you see Twisted Pebble in Roblox Studio on a basic gray baseplate, and he's firing a white laser right out of his mouth. Yes, you heard that right, a mouth laser. From what we know, this was just a funny picture, probably a developer joke or something silly qwel made. It doesn't seem to have any hidden meaning or deep lore behind it. Just Twisted Pebble, casually shooting a laser from his mouth. More floor events. You know how blackouts are the only special thing that happens on the floors right now? Like, when the whole area goes dark and you only see a little bit around your toon? Well, get ready, because more floor events are planned to be added to the game. qwel actually talked about a new floor event in her first YouTube stream. She said it would be kind of like a blackout but also different. We don't know exactly what this new event will be yet, but it's super early in the making. Then, in her second YouTube art stream, we learned something cool. This next floor event won't have anything to do with lighting. That's awesome since we already have the blackout event. It'll be exciting to see what new challenges or twists these future events bring to the game. The mods from the Discord server hate. Now for something a bit more about the community side of Dandy's world. Some players have expressed frustration with the Discord server moderators, feeling that they sometimes handle things poorly. qwel, the game's developer, has explained that she has a lot of work building the game and can't always handle the moderation herself. One notable incident involved a player who was banned for mirror shipping. When they tried to get unbanned, the moderators reportedly told them they needed to join the Discord to appeal, which caused a lot of anger in the community. qwel herself stepped in on TikTok, apologized for what happened, and helped resolve the situation. This incident, and others, led to players complaining about mods being on a power trip and questioning why even trial mods had the power to permanently ban people. Some felt that moderators, who must be 18 or older, weren't handling their power responsibly. Players also pointed out a specific command for the Discord bot called SAV ban, short for Savory Charm Exploit Ban. This command was made specifically to ban people who used a certain exploit that players believed was actually the developer's fault. This raised questions about why a ban command was so specific to an exploit rather than a more general, ban bug exploiter, command. Overall, while players understood qwel's busy schedule, there's a strong feeling in the community that better or more experienced moderators should be hired to handle the server more fairly. The reason V and Tisha hate each other. So, let's talk about V and Tisha. They definitely have some bad vibes between them. The main reason they don't get along comes down to Tisha's super intense love for cleaning. Tisha is obsessed with keeping everything sparkling and organized. She absolutely hates anything messy or when people don't respect all the hard work she puts into cleaning. She can even get really offended if she feels her efforts aren't appreciated. This is where V steps in. Tisha tends to strongly dislike Toons who she thinks don't value her passion for being clean. Their conversations are even weirdly tense. Like that time they just said V. and Tisha. Back and forth, ending with a frustrated humph from Tisha. And here's another peek into their disagreements, where Tisha tries to explain her feelings. V. Tisha, any reason you're not talking with me? Tisha, I have my reasons, V. V. Wow, so descriptive. Tisha, I just think you don't appreciate certain things here in Gardenview. V. Still not very descriptive. Tisha, UGH. Forget it dash. This dialogue really shows it. It seems Tisha sees V as someone who just doesn't care about a clean place or the effort Tisha puts in, and that causes all the friction between them. But even with those clear talks, it seems like the exact reason V and Tisha really can't stand each other is still a bit of a mystery for many players. We know from Tisha's words that she feels V just doesn't appreciate her hard work with cleaning around Gardenview, and that's a huge part of it. Still, even with that big clue, some fans wonder if there's an even deeper reason why these two Toons have so much tension. And that means there are plenty of theories out there. We can look at them in a separate video. Tutorial. The tutorial is an upcoming feature that will help new players learn how to play the game before going into online games. Once you complete the tutorial, you will be awarded a Roblox badge. It is unconfirmed how the tutorial will work but is confirmed to be most likely released after full release. It will most likely introduce the player on how to do a machine, twisted evasion, capsule and tape collection, etc. How the tutorial shall do this is unknown. Currently, the only tutorial in the game is tucked in the bottom right corner as the information button, explaining all the game's mechanics in separate sections and paragraphs. It may be hard to spot, which may be disadvantageous for newer players and touches on a few things only. The new tutorial will be added in future updates, or when the game gets fully released. Barnaby Willikers. Next, let's talk about Barnaby Willikers, also called Barnaby. He's one of the two smaller Toons in Dandy's world. Barnaby is Finn's toy fish, and he lives inside Finn's head, which looks like a fishbowl. Finn cares a lot about Barnaby, even saying to Scraps or Sprout, "He is so much more to me." Barnaby looks like a purple fish with light purple stripes. He has small fins, little lips, and one big eye. He's clearly a toy because he has a gray wind-up key on his back. Barnaby is a boy Toon, he/him. Barnaby first came out on August 14, 2024. He was also seen in a live stream on September 19, 2024. Besides being Finn's friend, Barnaby is the main character in an arcade game inside Dandy's world, called Swimmy Barnaby. I am so happy there friends.com. Let's dive into a really cool hidden detail that some eagle-eyed fans found on the Dandy's World merch site. If you look closely at the merch page, below the social media links, there's a small, faint, spinning raindrop. When you click on this raindrop, it takes you to a completely separate, secret website, IamSoHappyThereFriends.com. On this website, there's just one picture. Many players believe this image shows Gardenview before it officially opened. This theory is supported by several details in the picture. You can see unpainted walls, there are boxes around, the tree looks smaller, and the specific paintings by Arthur and Delila aren't yet in their usual spots. Plus, one weird thing is that from the ceiling walls, there's probably Ichor leaking and running down the walls, which makes the whole scene feel a bit unsettling even before the park opened. The name of the website itself, imsohappytherefriends.com, is also the file name of the image you see there, which is a neat little touch. Some fans have even thought that the raindrop you click might actually be a drop of Ichor, a mysterious substance in the game. And if you look really closely at the image, you might even spot Astros subtly glowing, adding another layer to this intriguing secret. It's a fantastic example of a small detail hinting at a bigger backstory for the park. Aging. Here's an interesting theory that some fans have come up with about the Toons themselves. This idea suggests that, behind the scenes, the creators probably planned for the Toons to age over time, just like real beings. However, the theory goes that because Gardenview is now defunct, meaning it's no longer running, the Toons are permanently stuck at their current ages. This would explain certain character details, like Toodles always being a child. If they were meant to grow but the facility shut down, then Toodles would simply be frozen in that stage of development forever. It's a thought that adds another layer to the mystery of the Toons' existence. Ambience noises. And the last ones for this layer are ambience noises. You can hear in the game's lobby. You might not pay much attention to them, but they add to the feel of the place. There is a subway or train structure in the lobby area. And if you listen closely, there's a constant background noise that sounds a lot like a generator or some kind of machine running. It's subtle, but it's always there, adding to the atmosphere of the lobby. This background sound loop lasts for about 45 seconds. So enjoy it, I guess. Old mechanics of some trinkets. The bone trinket originally gave you a 25% boost to your walk and run speed for 10 seconds whenever you entered a new floor. That ability was changed in an update to give you the speed boost only when you pick up an item. Interestingly, the pull toy trinket now does exactly what the old bone used to do. The crayon set was very different back in the day. It used to give you 3 random uncommon items right at the start of a round. This was changed to a more balanced ability. Now it produces 1 uncommon item every time you enter a new floor, as long as you have an open inventory slot. Its old function, giving you items at the beginning of the game, is now handled by the fishing rod. The diary originally increased a Toon's stealth by a fixed 2.5 units. In a later update, this was changed to a percentage. It now increases your stealth by 25%. The nightcap trinket has had a few lives. It first restored your stamina completely when you entered a new floor, but as a penalty, it also decreased your max stamina by 10%. This was then changed to increasing your stamina regeneration by 33% while extracting from a machine, which was later buffed to 40%. The trinket was eventually scrapped entirely and replaced by the star pillow, which received a further buff and now increases your stamina regeneration by a massive 100%. V's remote used to be a little too powerful. It originally finished the first machine you extracted from on a new floor, no matter what. The developers changed this to stop players from earning huge amounts of Ichor and unfairly speedrunning through floors. Now, it only works if less than 50% of the machines on the floor have been completed. You might know this trinket as the cooler now, but it used to be called the water cooler. It was completely redesigned, given a new name, and even had 2 dandy stickers added to the side. The blue bandana used to just give you a small 5% boost to your skill check chance. But now, it's a trade-off. It increases your extraction speed by 7.5% but also decreases your skill check chance by 5%. Some trinkets had different placeholder icons before their official art was finished. The Speedy Shoes icon was a yellow shoe with 2 cyan wings, and the friendship bracelet icon was just a picture of a rainbow rubber band bracelet. Fake Connie trinket. The trinket is real, but the name is a direct reference to a classic prank item with fake snakes popping out of a can. This fits Connie's mischievous and prankster personality perfectly. The trinket's ability is to reduce a Toon's active ability cooldown by 5 seconds. To get it, you need to achieve 100% research on Twisted Connie. V in Piggy. V was the second Toon to have an Easter egg in a game not owned by Blush Crunch. You can find her on a monitor in the lobby of the Decay chapter in the game Piggy. Ichor is blood. Ichor is not just a game mechanic, it's a key part of the lore. Ichor is described as the blood of the Toons. In Greek mythology, Ichor was the golden blood of the gods, but in dDandy's world, it's the substance that causes Toons to transform into their twisted forms. The substance is extracted from machines, and if a Toon is exposed to excessive amounts of it, they can become a twisted. Scrapped/upcoming skins. A lot of work goes into dDandy's world that we never get to see. There have been several skin concepts that were scrapped or are on the way into the game. Glasses Box 10. In an early art stream, we saw a very unfinished skin concept for Box 10 that simply gave him glasses. This idea was never completed. Ruby and Sapphire Razzle and Dazzle. This was an unfinished skin shown in a September 2024 art stream. Razzle was colored red and Dazzle was light blue, and they had a purple ribbon scarf. The colors from this concept were eventually repurposed for the Radiant Dream Razzle and Dazzle skin. Dragon Scraps, a fully designed skin for Scraps was shown, with light green skin and horns. The idea was eventually scrapped because Scraps' model wasn't optimized. There was even a scrapped red version that was considered for the 2025 Halloween event, but it was also dropped. Tamagotchi V. Before V's final skins were made, 2 versions of a Tamagotchi-themed skin were considered and later scrapped. One had a pale pink body and a yellow face, while the other had a blue and yellow swirl pattern. Interestingly, the color palette from the first version was later used for the pastel paper scrap skin. Red V. An unfinished skin for V showed her with a red body and a white screen with red eyes. A white poncho from this scrap design was later reused for part of the cape outline on the Cosmic Signal V skin. The white screen idea was also repurposed for the Showtime V skin. Upcoming skins. There are several new skins confirmed to be coming to the game. Purchasable skins. The next update will include 5 new purchasable skins. These are the Louis Color skin for Yatta, the Chocolate Strawberry skin for Sprout, the Strawberry Cake skin for Cosmo, and 2 new skins for Poppy. Vintage Blot Jr. Blot Jr. will be getting his own vintage skin in a future update to match the one his father, Blot, already has. 2025 Halloween skins. The 2024 Halloween event was cancelled, but the skins planned for it are being delayed and repurposed for the 2025 Halloween event. Only Toons with optimized models will receive these skins. The list of Toons who could get them includes Blot, Box 10, Brusha, Connie, Cosmo, Louie, Pebble, Poppy, Razzle and Dazzle, Sprout, V, and Yatta. Ichor staff rooms. If you look around the lobby, you can find a few creepy things that hint at the game's darker lore. One of the most unsettling is the staff-only door. There are splashes of Ichor leaking out from underneath it, along with what looks worryingly like finger marks. It's as if someone was dragged through the door, leaving a silent struggle behind. Toon recreation. In dDandy's world, death isn't the end. When a Toon dies, they are always teleported back to the lobby. But what exactly happens in that moment? Since we know that Toons are made of Ichor, the same substance that can corrupt them, it can be theorized that something or someone is recreating you. This suggests a powerful, unseen force is in control, either cloning you or bringing you back to life after every failure. It's a chilling thought that every time you lose, you might not be the same Toon you were before. Christmas Toons get locked up the whole year. A chilling piece of lore is revealed through a pair of notes exchanged between staff members Arthur Walton and Delila Keane. Arthur's note shows his concern for the Christmas Toons, who he says have been found hiding in corners, and seem to have less interest in things after the holidays. His note ends with a worried plea, you may want to give them a checkup and make sure everything's working well. We don't want unhappy Toons. Delila's cold, dismissive response reveals a much bleaker reality for the Toons. Her note states, that behavior is natural to them, don't worry about it. Christmas is gone, we don't need them interacting with the public during off-season, that's a waste of resources. They'll be right and in working shape when the holiday comes back. This exchange reveals that the Christmas Toons are essentially treated as resources to be stored away and used only for special events, with their post-holiday sadness being seen as nothing more than a natural, off-season, behavior. This leads to a chilling question: does the same fate await the Easter and Halloween Toons? Twisted V's old design. Twisted V has gone through some truly creepy design changes before we got to her current version. Her first scrap design was much more monstrous. Her torso was connected to metal wires coming from a vent, she had no waist, and her screen projected a wide, sharp-toothed grin. She also had thick palms with sharper claws, hinting that her gimmick might have involved attacking through vents. The second design was closer to her Toon self, but still unsettling. She was connected by a short black tube, and her left arm was covered in dripping Ichor. Both her screen and torso dripped with the substance, and her bisected body had noticeable texture differences. Scraps, Tisha, and Brightnay and used icons. If you look closely at some of the early promotional art, you'll find some very subtle clues about how the Toons were originally designed. In the Welcome to Gardenview poster, for instance, the voting icons for Scraps, Tisha, and Brightnay are all different from their current ones. This isn't just an art style change, it hints at bigger design changes. For example, some early production notes reveal that Scraps was originally a male character. You can see this in her old concept art where she has no eyelashes and missing spaces between pronouns on her info card. It is important to note that she is not canonically trans. Stylized Astro, Shelly, and V. In a doodle by qwel, we got a glimpse of some truly unique skin concepts for V, Shelly, and Astro. qwel drew the Toons in stylized outfits that were designed to match their personalities, but unfortunately, the designs were scrapped. The reason was due to modeling constraints. V's suit tails could not be made to drag properly. Astro's long robe could not be made to drag on the ground. Shelly's nets would be stiff in the final model, rather than having a natural flow. The general rule was that complex cloth elements require extra mesh deformation that the team could not allow for skins. Twisted Toodle's animation change. Twisted Toodle's animations have gone through several changes, and each one has a story behind it. Her first animation had her running on all fours like a feral animal, which fit her reckless nature. However, this was changed because players in roleplay mode were using it for inappropriate scenarios. This initial animation was notably made by a developer who was later fired. Her animation was changed a second time to have her run upright with outstretched arms, like a zombie, with her broken head hinting at a craving for brains. The final animation, which we see now, has her crawling around like an infant baby. The change was made to reflect her young age, and it's also designed to be bewildering that a baby can crawl so quickly. Razzle and Dazzle's ability being active. When you first hear this, you might think it's a simple, forgotten detail. But this is a bottom layer secret because it's actually about a deep, passive ability that you can't manually activate. Razzle and Dazzle have a passive skill called comedy/tragedy, and it's a brilliant piece of their design. On odd-numbered floors, Razzle takes over, and your movement speed gets a huge boost. Then, on even-numbered floors, Dazzle is in control, and you become incredibly fast at extracting. This isn't something you click a button to do, it's tied directly to the floors you're on. So, why is only one ability active at a time? This is because it reflects their core personalities and lore. Razzle, the happy, excitable half of the duo, takes over when they're at their fastest. His speed is a direct reflection of his eager personality. On the other hand, Dazzle, the gloomy, pessimistic half, controls their extraction ability. Dazzle is so slow because he's depressed and anxious. Their abilities are a perfect metaphor for their duality, they can't be both things at once, and their skills directly reflect whichever twin is currently in control. Everyone is trapped in Gardenview. This theory is heavily supported by the in-game lore. As we know from the information scattered throughout the floors, Gardenview Educational Center was a learning center created by Arthur Walton and Delila Keane. But the most important piece of evidence is a newspaper clipping that states Gardenview was shut down on June 29, 2002, due to a malfunction incident and a lack of safety regulations. It's also noted that one of the creators, Arthur Walton, was questioned about the incident but chose to remain silent. This suggests that the Toons we play as and the Twisteds were all locked inside the facility when it closed its doors for good. The lore implies that the malfunction incident was a major event, one that led to the Toons being trapped in the building, and the founders not only failing to contain it, but also keeping silent about what happened. A note from Shelley's Toon handler, Shannon Mendez, confirms that some of the Toon handlers were able to escape the facility at Arthur's direction. With the Toon handlers out and the facility permanently closed, the Toons are left to navigate the now abandoned building, trapped inside the very place that was created for their purpose. Glisten was the last to turn twisted. This is supported by his uniquely tragic and distinct behavior. While other twisted Toons are simply a violent reflection of their Toon counterparts, Twisted Glisten is the only one who can still speak. His very being is a raw embodiment of Glisten's fear of being alone. He has a broken mirror for a head and appears to be on the verge of tears, with his arms tied together by a ribbon so he doesn't hurt anyone. In-game, his behavior is very different from the other Twisteds. He is peaceful at the start of a floor and can't harm Toons. He needs to be accompanied by players to keep a loneliness meter from filling up. If he is left alone, he becomes enraged, breaks free from his ribbons, and attacks out of desperation. Unlike other Twisteds who lash out with rage, Glisten's attacks are a desperate plea to keep you with him. His ability to speak and his need for companionship show that he is still fighting against the Ichor, suggesting that his corruption is still fresh and he was the last to fully succumb to the madness. Canon Lost Episode. Our next entry is the Canon Lost Episode. In the game, you can find a poster for a show called dDandy in Showtime Panic. It's a completely normal poster for an episode, but when you look closely at the details, you discover something chilling. The poster has an in-universe release date of July 21, 2002. But if you remember our discussion about Gardenview's lore, the entire facility was shut down on June 29 of that same year. This means that the episode, and the shows it represented, were scheduled to come out after the Toons were all trapped inside. November 15th Incident. On 15th of November, for about 10 terrifying minutes, a bug in the game's code caused every single player to receive admin privileges. Imagine the chaos. Every single person in the game suddenly had the power to do anything they wanted. It was a complete breakdown of the game's systems, a rare moment where all the usual rules were broken. The bug was patched incredibly fast, and very few people even know that for a brief, crazy period, every player was an admin. Unknown hallway on the teaser video. In the original teaser video for dDandy's World, a specific location was shown in the video's description, a long, unsettling hallway called Gardenview Hallway B2. This hallway, with its large, dark wooden doors covered in ichor and a moldy, dilapidated appearance, was never seen in the final game. It was a space created exclusively for the teaser, a fleeting glimpse into a darker, more disturbing vision of Gardenview that never made it to the game. The fact that this hallway was designed, built, and then seemingly abandoned, suggests there were much larger, more terrifying plans for the game that were either scrapped or are still waiting to be revealed. dDandy is the antagonist. Next on our iceberg is a theory that many people believe to be true at first glance, that dDandy is the antagonist. However, the reality is far more complicated and unsettling. According to the game's developer, dDandy is not the main villain of dDandy's World at all. Instead, he is a morally gray character. The true antagonists are the Twisteds, the monstrous versions of the Toons that have been corrupted by the mysterious substance known as Ichor. dDandy's role is far more complex than just being a bad guy. It's theorized that he might be influenced by a desire to continue the Ichor operation, a twisted plan that may have been started by another character named Delila. This means that dDandy might not be the cause of all this chaos, but just another character influenced by the true malevolent forces at play. It's all Delila's fault. Next on our iceberg is a theory that flips everything we thought we knew on its head. This theory has been backed up by notes found throughout the game, and it suggests that Delila Keane is a horrible person who may have caused everything. The evidence for this comes from the event Toons. First, in the Christmas event, we find a note from Delila. She refers to the holiday Toons as useless after the event's over, and wants to isolate them in a room until the next year. The note is even stained with what looks like tears from one of the Toons, which shows how little she cared about their well-being. But the Easter event is where this theory gets truly disturbing. In a secluded alleyway on the event floor, you can find a scene of pure horror, Ichor stains, markings on the walls saying, "I'm sorry," and a note that gives a horrifying glimpse into her mind. In the note, Delila discusses replacing Bassie as a main character with Coco, a much more popular Toon, just to make more money. It becomes clear that Delila sees all the Toons as nothing more than objects to generate profit. The horrifying alleyway and the notes suggest that she was experimenting with the Ichor to boost productivity on the Toons, thinking it would make her rich. The tragic result of these experiments wasn't a money-making machine but a monster that kills by instinct. Goob and Scraps originally weren't siblings. According to qwel, the creator of the game, she didn't originally design Goob and Scraps to be related. The decision to make them siblings was a last-minute creative choice based on their shared theme of being crafts. Goob is a googly-eyed clay figure, while Scraps is a stitched-together doll. The developers decided to connect their lore to match their appearances, giving us the pair of sibling Toons we know today. Halloween 2024 Unreleased Toons. Our next secret is the Halloween 2024 Unreleased Toons. In a developer stream, qwel revealed that the 2024 Halloween event was cancelled and that 4 Toons were originally planned for it. We know one of them was Connie, who was saved from being scrapped and added to the game as a normal Toon. But the other 3 were completely scrapped and will never be added to the game. All we have are their names and some fan theories about what they might have been. First, there was Harvey. Based on his name sounding similar to Harvest, he might have been a scarecrow or a pumpkin-themed Toon. Next was Countless. The name, Countless, could have been a reference to a vampire, but it could also have been a spooky grandfather clock that was endlessly counting down. And finally, there was Duke. Given that the name Duke can sound like a ghostly title, he could have been a ghost to match Connie or maybe even a zombie. And with that, we've finally reached the bottom. I hope you all enjoyed this journey through the Dandy's World Iceberg. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. You can also join my Discord to chat with other fans. The link is in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.